Hello, welcome to Game Over. Well, I'm out of practice. I forgot to turn on the light, so excuse me while I turn into a ghost for a second. As things get adjusted, there we go. Camera's up to date. So I'm here today just to talk about what it's going to look like as we go forward with Game Over for the playoffs this year specifically. But also I'm open to talking about what we're planning for the relaunch for next season. We can talk about your favorite hockey team, whatever you want. Throw some questions in there. But I'll start off by just giving everyone some information. Obviously, this is a big change up from how we were doing things before with SDPN. This is going to be without a safety net. SDPN gave us a lot of security in terms of being able to pay people, being able to, run things on their channel. Hi, Josh. Nice to see you. A lot more experience from those guys on how to run a YouTube channel, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to make things work. It's going to be interesting because not everyone is going to be able to come back. Obviously, Audie had said on Twitter that he's not going to be able to come back. I've known that for a few months now. He got an opportunity at work where he can't not do it. So he's going to have to do that and become a successful person in his day job. And that's fun. We're super happy for him. Another person who won't be coming back, at least for now, in terms of hosting, is Alyssa from Winnipeg. She just graduated from business school and she's going to be working on some different opportunities that she's been offered. Brady also is moving to Asia for a year. So Brady's going to work with us behind the scenes in a few areas. And Alyssa will also be giving us maybe some business advice, but you won't see them on camera next season. So we're going to be looking for new people for Game Over Winnipeg. That's going to be something that we're going to be talking about in the summer. And everyone else, I believe at this stage, is set to come back, but not everyone can make it for the playoffs. Obviously, when you wait 3 months with a little bit of uncertainty, people will have to make plans. It's just the way it goes. People have vacation plans, they have school, they have work, they have all sorts of other stuff. So the people who are coming back is going to be thin for the playoffs, which means we might not be able to do every game for all 4 Canadian markets. We're going to try our very best, but I'll be here. Mark will be here. Lauren will be hosting. Many others will be guesting. Peter Klein will be back. Kaya will be back. But in terms of hosting, that's the stable I believe that we have going into the playoffs. It's going to be thin and tight to get a lot of the coverage done. But we're in it to bring you guys the best that we possibly can. And that's what it's all about, right? So the playoffs is going to be a little bit less, or I guess like more bare bones than what it will look like next season when we have the full brand refresh, when we have, a full roster of people ready to take this on. And it's going to be exciting come October, but it's going to be exciting now too. It'll be exciting to talk about other teams. People like myself, Mark, Peter, our teams aren't going to be in the playoffs, so we'll get to talk about some other teams. I think I'll be hosting some Winnipeg games, which would be really fun because I've covered the Jets before for the Winnipeg Free Press, so I have like some level of insight there on top of, being a hockey writer and all that for years and years. But I'll be brushing up on my Jets insider information before we ever go live. We're going to make sure that we have great guests from each market to make sure that the fans' best interests are served and make sure that we give you the best coverage possible. But rest assured, everyone who's going to be doing work here is going to make sure that they bring as much information to the table as possible, as much like intimate knowledge of the team as possible. We're going to be studying up and make sure that we get there. Claire, hi Claire, how are you doing? Craig House, what happened to the hair? Well, Craig, that's been over a year now, I think, that the hair has been... I made the choice. It was thinning on top, and it was just not worth it anymore. So I made the choice to shave it off. Adam El Celdo says, as long as there's Toronto coverage, you'll be set for all 4 rounds. That's a confidence that I would not have, Adam. But it's going to be fun. I think we've got a lot of good content that we can make this year. We're going to be able to make more stuff with like YouTube Shorts, which we can cross post on TikTok and Instagram. We're going to be able to make different kinds of recorded videos that can bring you more information. It won't just be post game shows. For now, it might be just because we can't ask people to do too much just for the love of the game. What we're doing right now for the playoffs, we're doing for the fans and to get the ball rolling on pushing these channels out and getting subscribers for them so that we can go live next year. All 7 markets do have their own individual YouTube channel up now, and I'll be creating, I'll be going through the YouTube channel, making sure that those are findable, I guess, or discoverable for everybody to go around. But you can search now and find those and subscribe to them. I think we need 50 subscribers to go live on each channel, which shouldn't be an issue heading into next year. I don't think that's a big deal. Josh says, I'm still in the letting it do what I wants phase, letting it do what it wants phase of losing my hair. I have a lot of friends who are the same that refuse to do the full shave. I don't know. It's weird. I've actually found that it's like therapeutic to like do it. Like the actual shaving process is nice. It makes you feel nice and clean. But I do miss having hair a little bit sometimes. But yeah, if you have any questions about what we're doing going forward, definitely drop them in the stream chat. It's going to be really exciting. I think the big change that we're going to make in terms of how we're going to operate this business as opposed to the usual media model is the people who are going to be part of Game Over are going to have equity in the company. Like as of right now, I am the sole owner proprietor of this brand, this network, but contracts will be created for all of our hosts where will become essentially part owners, stakeholders in this business above and beyond any salary that's being paid. So it's going to be a challenge. We're going to have to get a lot of advertisers signed by the time the season rolls around in order to make commitments to our people, because we're going to have to pay people. I've done the working for free thing in media. It's just not worth it. So I don't believe in doing this and not having some kind of structure available to get people paid at least somewhat fairly. Matthew Barrett, nice to see you, man. He says more aerodynamic now. Yeah, I'm a way faster runner, but it's a good time to do this stuff. And I think you look at the media industry around North America, especially in Canada, sports media, and it's really fallen apart at the seams. Every day is layoffs, it seems like, and even the big organizations like the Athletic, it's like a round of layoffs every quarter. It's become just part of the business, and anytime that you can make something that has the potential to pay people and also provide an entry point to this industry, I think it's good. But it's going to get to a point where there's crunch time in making this generate some sort of revenue. I can let you in on like our plan a little bit, but I don't want to telegraph anything too much because I've got a lot of work to do really now until the beginning of next season. I've got a bit of a runway here, but it's going to be a lot of work. So if anybody in the community has any leads on stuff, that also would help in any local market. So my plan more than anything is these uh, local shows essentially are part of the media apparatus that's dying the fastest. You know, local media is going away, especially in Canada where everything starts being shifted to Toronto centric, right? And that's not just about like the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's just all the decision making happens in Toronto. And when you ignore what happens in the rest of Canada, you get alienation, you get content that doesn't serve people from across Canada. So my overarching push in what makes this something special is, yes, we're providing cool stuff to fans, but also I want it to be a community building thing outside of just the fans who are or the viewers who are partaking in the stream chat or watching it on replay, commenting on the YouTube, listening as a podcast. I want to partner with local small businesses that are looking to grow their exposure as well. It's not about making it big and being rich. I really don't have a desire to do that. I have a desire to be fairly compensated for my time. and compensate those who put in their time in the same manner. So we're going to be looking to partner with small-ish local businesses where we can create a cyclical situation where our growth helps them grow, and we build those relationships that last a very long time. So I'm really excited to start talking to people and get things going. I've got a lot of stuff to do, but there's lots of fun to have along the way. Adam says, broadcast industry is badly run, very little forward thinking. That's why I'm a mailman now. I hear you, man. Honestly, having been in this industry now for 12 or so years, as somebody who's been getting paid, and several years of that where it was not a living wage, it's rough. It's rough. I think when you can work as hard as so many people do in this industry and never really make it to the point of being paid full-time wages, it's really tough. And I've done that. I've had full-time wages from a couple of different jobs, and then you lose it, and that's just, you have to deal with it, right? There's very little security outside of the top guys in the industry, and unfortunately a lot of those top guys, they do everything, right? So there are guys who maybe don't need extra jobs who have extra jobs, and the industry continues to get smaller. So we're trying to make the industry a little bit bigger, a little bit more broad, a little bit more diverse, both in terms of who's talking and the diversity of opinions as well. So we're going to attack that a little bit and see how it goes. Most Toast says, Andrew, it failed at SDPN. Why do you think you can do it? Okay, so I do want to talk about SDPN, and I want to talk about it completely honestly, because I think everyone deserves to understand what's going on, but also understand that I am held to, there's certain things that I can't talk about, right? About behind the scenes. But I will tell you the gist of everything, and then be just totally honest about how everybody's feeling about that situation. So to start with SDPN, I think when you look at Adam, Jesse, and Steve, and if you're wondering like how I feel about them, I'm not going to lie and say that there's no hurt feelings, but at the same time, I consider those three guys my friends. And if you look at the totality of what happened there, I think the takeaway I keep coming back to now is, at the end of the day, they believed in what we were doing. And was it executed perfectly? No, I think there's lots of things that we could have done differently to grow the show. I think they had an idea of, if this is going to survive, it'll kind of like find its way on its own. And I think when you're running a business where you're paying a lot of like capital out at the start, which honestly, SDPN did that when they didn't have to. They were a young company, right? Like, you see a lot of companies come out and they say like, well, we're going to pay you a tiny little monthly stipend and then a percent of profit or revenue. And that profit revenue, like, you only get that once you get to a certain level of popularity, right? So there was no carrot being held in front of everyone. Everything was up front with SDPN. I give them a lot of respect for that, because that's a tough thing to do in this industry. But I would say that they didn't do the best job in platforming us, promoting our shows, that kind of stuff. The integration, I think, could have been better, but those are small things. And the most important thing to take away with Game Over and SDPN is that Game Over wasn't canceled on SDPN because of anything that happened with Game Over. It wasn't canceled because of lack of growth, lack of numbers, any of that. The expectation going in was these were always going to be, at least at the beginning, very small shows that we hoped eventually would grow into something bigger. And the scalability, it didn't go as fast as I think we were all hoping, especially after that first playoffs, when we saw the numbers and we were like, oh, we can carry some of this over into next year. But you learn things about how the YouTube algorithm works. That got changed on us once, and that completely cratered us for a bit. You learn things about the ebb and flow of an 82 game season, and November, December, the numbers are always going to be a little bit lower as like the glow comes off starting a new season. In the middle of the season, doldrums kind of come in, and then it picks back up around the trade deadline. So you learn all this information in doing this 82 times a year, and you can take that and move forward. You can learn from the mistakes if there were made before. And the other thing was, the impetus for SDPN was to sell their big shows, right? They have amazing people working there, Christina and Rob in their sales department, who were working on big contracts with big companies for their big shows because that's the priority they had to have as a company to be financially viable. And our show got, a little bit of interest here and there from different advertisers, but we, because of the nature of our shows and starting out from the ground floor with a lot of people who weren't necessarily known in media, we brought in a lot of green young people who were exciting and are awesome, but didn't have that pull in like it's not going to be the same if you're going to bring Elliot Friedman or Bob McKenzie on a podcast, right? You're going to get people that want to tune in just because of them. So we were in the process of still introducing ourselves in large part, most of our hosts. So it's really fun to think of where it can go, but we also have to remember that this isn't going to be easy. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of investment. It's going to probably have some stumbles, and I'm ready for that. And I'll tell you this, if it doesn't work, it won't be because we didn't turn over every rock. It'll be because in this media environment, it just can't work. So we're going to push really hard. And like I said about SDPN, there are definitely hurt feelings in the group of how it ended, how abruptly it ended, how little warning we had that we were on thin ice. But as to how it, like, quote unquote failed on SDPN, the motive or the direction for Game Over was never to become profitable right away. It was grow it organically, and then when the time comes, we can get there. And now we're going to have to just do both, and it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm ready to do that work. Let's see if there's any other comments here. Hunter says, congrats on rebooting Game Over. Thanks, Hunter. I really appreciate it. Adam says, looked from the outside, just too much movement, too fast. I mean, I think you could say that a little bit. I don't want to comment too much on like SDPN's choices, but expansion is always tough, especially in this industry. You look at what The Athletic did, right? Where for, I think it was like the first or second year of The Athletic existing, they were like 80% of the PHWA, the Professional Hockey Writers Association, were all working for The Athletic, which was like wild. They just completely took over sports media, and then it was just cut after cut after cut after cut. And The Athletic still has some amazing work that's done there, but it's a lot more bare bones than it used to be. So yeah, rapid expansion can hurt you. Josh says, speaking of SDPN, props to RS Malloy for how he handled the situation with the Game Over community in the SDPN Discord server. Game Over community was hurting, and he did his best with the situation. Listen, Rob is a fantastic person, and I love him. I miss chatting with Rob because we text all the time, and it's just like a lot of the texting back and forth with the SDPN crew took a break. We'll say it's no fault of Rob. I didn't see anything that happened in the Discord server, so I can't really comment on that. Josh says, kept the main Game Over channel open to let the host say goodbye and then told us where to find him elsewhere. That's really nice. Adam says, makes sense. Worked with ad agencies for a long time and they want results immediately. Yeah, it's tough, and this is going to be a situation where, at least in the meantime, the growth is going to be slow. We're starting from square one. We're building YouTube channels on our own. We don't have the giant community of SDPN behind us, but I believe in what we were doing. And I believe that once we get the word out there that we're back up, the fans will flock over. It doesn't mean they have to leave SDPN, like they can still enjoy the Steve Dangle podcast. There's nothing against that. So hopefully it, takes off faster than I think, but I'm prepared to be in it for the long haul if need be. As for the rest of it, I'm just really excited to be back. It's something that I enjoyed so much, chatting with our people here and getting to know so many people. Hunter, we messaged a lot during Game Over. Claire, saying hi to Claire every single show. Matthew Barrett also had good commentary on Game Over Montreal. So I'm excited to get Game Over Montreal back next season as well, but excited to talk about another team too. Adam says, would Game Over come back for the juniors as well? I hope so. I also think that there's an opportunity to partner with, at least I hope so, Elite Prospects again, like we did last year, which was a content partnership. But I really enjoyed that. I love the people they have working there. They're a great group of people and a fun company to work with. So that would be really fun. I don't want to confirm any of that kind of stuff yet because we do have to be careful. But those kinds of special events are probably going to be better to sell advertising for because they're very focused, right? Like the NHL's regular season, that 82 game slog, it's hard, I think, to sell that to most advertisers because you're selling the long game, right? You're selling over 82 games. This such and such amount of people are going to be there, but for the World Juniors, it's an event, right? So it's easier to drum up attention for that. Hunter says, "Are you attempting to bring back some or all of the hosts who did Game Over in their regions?" Yes, everyone who wants to come back will be back. Not everyone will be able to. Some people have to move on to other opportunities. But I think we chat still. We have our own WhatsApp chat, still all the Game Over group, and we chat pretty much every day. So there's going to be lots of people that are back. Even there are some people who won't be able to be back in the host chair for the playoffs who are probably still going to show up as guests, right? They just can't commit to sitting down and taking notes for a full game, right? They might come on and having only watched the second and third period, maybe they missed it finishing up something at work, and then they can comment that way. So Josh says, you mentioned not wanting to expand too fast, but if the better case scenario happens, is a Game Over AHL or CHL something that interests you? I don't know about that. I think maybe we could do like recorded videos covering that kind of stuff, like prospects, especially on these individual pages now, because we can dig in a little bit deeper now that each market has their own page. But if we're going to expand anywhere in the short term, if everything goes way better than I possibly thought it could have, then it would either be select American markets where I know that there are people that are itching to do it and a market there for it, or maybe the PWHL, because I see that as a huge rising popular situation, and they seem to finally be going in the right direction, right? They've got broadcast deals. You can see their games on YouTube, and there's an opportunity to maybe get in on the ground floor or close to the ground floor a little bit better on the PWHL. So I don't think minor hockey or junior hockey are like a focus per se, but we'll see. Josh says, no, you Josh already said that. Long shot Paris 2024 Game Over. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, wait, is Paris even a Winter Olympics? I don't even know. If the last Olympics, I have to tell you all, I did it and I loved the idea of it in like theory, but when it actually came to doing the broadcast, it became painfully obvious how little I know about so many other sports. And then having to do that after having stayed up watching those sports all night long and do it in the morning, trying not to wake my kids up at like 6 a.m. It was not that a pleasant experience. So the only way we would do Olympics where I'm running it is if it paid significantly well and propped up the company. Adam says junior hockey is very uncovered in a hardcore market. Yeah, it's true. It might be something where you could make videos of it first. Like we could test the waters always, but it's tough, you know, like it might be a big market for a certain group, but I don't know if it's a big market in terms of generating revenue. And unfortunately, in the capitalist hellscape that we live in, that's very important. Yeah, Paris is summer, says Adam. Not as good as the winter. I mean, Summer Olympics can be fun, but like, how much swimming can you watch, you know? Uh, also says winter 2026 is in Italy. Yes, I think I remember hearing that. Yeah, that sounds more likely. There's more runway to get there, right? It's 2024 is tough. There's a lot of work that has to be done on the just launching the slate that we currently have in time for next season. Like I mentioned that Alyssa and Brady won't be able to do Game Over Winnipeg next year, so we're gonna have to hire at least two people for Game Over Winnipeg. And with the structure that I'm building for this outlet, essentially, we're gonna have to be very careful about who we bring in. It's going to be a big deal because everyone that we bring in is going to have a lot of control over what goes on in that market. They're going to be a stakeholder in the company. We're going to be giving them equity. It's going to be, like not fully communist, but close, because you can't expect anybody to be pulling in full-time hours without handing them over a paycheck that earns that kind of work. But there will be incentives as well. Adam says, definitely need a runway to get there or a boat. Yeah, it's going to be tough. But yeah, any leads you have that might work with what we're going to plan to do here, you can always send them to my way. You can always send them to gameovernhl@gmail.com. That's the email that's going to be used for pretty much everything for this network. So make sure you do that. And I think that's probably all we need to talk about today, unless anybody's got any more questions. Did everybody watch X-Men 97? Oh, the other thing is going to be for the playoffs, all the shows are going to be streaming from this channel. I don't remember if I said that in the original video. And then next year when it relaunches, every market will have their own channel, and this channel will host things like Game Over Juniors, special events, the Stanley Cup Final, uh, all that stuff. Maybe some other fun videos where you get to know our creators a little bit better, and it's going to be really fun. I think that's the biggest takeaway from all of this, is that we're aiming to have fun and bring you cool content that's a little bit more creative than some of what you see out there now, because we're going to have a little bit more freedom. We don't have higher ups to answer to. It's just me, and I don't have that many rules. Hunter says, still planning on doing that at some point. Oh, watching Shogun. Oh, I've heard so many good things about Shogun, but the last time I was going to go check it out, it wasn't finished yet. And I feel like I wanted to not have to wait. So I haven't started that yet, but I can't wait to start it. That's been really good. We just started Fallout, which was the first half or so of the first episode. Seemed pretty good. Josh says, the last two playoffs, I was watching 2, sometimes 3 games a night with the Game Over return. I'm hyped to add that on. Yeah, playoff watching is awesome, but it's a grind. The first round is my favorite time of year outside of like holidays with the kids, and it's just this overwhelming attack of hockey, and the intensity just ratchets up so great. Claire says, great to see you again, Andrew. Mark tell you I finally met him in person. He didn't. That's awesome. I'm glad. Hunter says, I just want to say I'm happy you didn't let the SDPN layoff let you down, and that you still have faith in the product. I've been one of your biggest vocal supporters. I'm really excited for you. Thank you, Hunter. I'll be honest, it did get me down for a while. I don't think there's any way a human can go through a layoff and not get down a little bit, but listen, we have something that's special here. I continue to believe that. The fact that we grew 26% year over year from our first year to our second year, despite that cutoff happening in January where the numbers are usually, there's like the little trough in November, December, January. It's pretty good. I feel like by the end of the year, our numbers would have been closer to up around 35%. And then playoffs obviously is a whole different animal. I hope we can get back to that once we get back into, hosting the market specific shows. But for this year's playoffs, we're doing it for the passion, the love of the game, and it's going to be really fun. So stick with us. My name is Andrew Berkshire. This is the Game Over Network. Please subscribe. Please smash that notification bell. Please like this video, and maybe go back and watch like the introductory video again, because anything that you can do to help us out, it really is appreciated. And we are going to need help from our community to grow this thing, because like I said, we don't have the safety net of SDPN anymore. It's going to be an uphill climb every step of the way. But hey,